draws very close right there. Okay, all right. And then there's also that little, just going on social media, general spaces about, the geometric, is it geometric storm? Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah, when the sun emits some very large flares, and people go, what's going on? How the earth's adjusting. I think there's even meant to be an eclipse sometime next month, right? But as I understand it, and I have more information, I'll be sharing that with you. But yeah, a lot of things are happening towards the end of this month, and it comes from one of those views of, okay, what exactly did this month entail? How you hear stories, or no, not stories. How people tag months, for certain things, certain experiences, certain expectations, right? March, we are marching to the month of March. We glory and all that. How does that work for you? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, the end. I like to believe the end should be greater than the start, right? There's always something impressive about ending something if you started, right? So I'm looking forward to having this month end on a good note, on a very, and I mean very, very good note. Now, on that note, let's talk about what are the most discussed and often insulted sector here in Nigeria: telecommunications. Oh yeah, I'm sure some of you are nodding your head. We have them sometimes. When you call us here, say, "Oh, apologies, we didn't get to have this happen. It wasn't from us. It's the service providers." Yes, that's the problem. Service providers. That's what happened here. We did not do it. It was not our fault. Please do not be angry. Okay? Do not be angry. Now, recently, tech and business innovation expert Uche Aniche advised business owners to expand their internet sources, saying that the internet plays a key role in the future and future successes in African businesses. Now, it says Nigeria is affected by the massive internet disruption across Africa because of the absence of data center in the country. Now, how many of you remember that? Remember about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, sometime at least at the start of this month, there were serious complaints as to the provision of services, all right, from telecommunications groups and bodies, right? And it was really bad. Later on we heard, okay, well, the reason why it's been so bad, there's been some damage to some infrastructure, blah 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 blah. And now, let's not forget, it's not the first time. Now, a few years ago, there were disruptions, across certain borders, and some of the complaints included installations being vandalized and whatnot. Now it is done. Now there are other players. Yes, you have your regular telecoms here, but there are other internet service providers, very very popular, or I would say it's not very popular, but it came through with a lot of pizzazz and expectations last year. Was it 2 years ago? Yes, 2 years ago. That was the internet service from Elon Musk, right? How many of you got it? So, it brings me to my question. How would you rate the service provision in Port Harcourt? We're localizing it in Port Harcourt. And two, as an aside, right? Because this will probably be a focal point for a lot of people. I'll tell you why. How many phone numbers do you use? My friends in the US and the UK, more often than not, have just one service provider. On a rare occasion, they have two. A service provider for the house, all right, and then for their mobile devices as they move around town, right? End of story. But during that period, this was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when a lot of people were complaining about service provision. Oh, the network is so slow. Oh, online people were shouting. I got to meet somebody, and this is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. I got to meet somebody who has 5. Please listen to me. 5 internet sources. He has all the, is it 3 or 4 service providers here, right? It has those other internet service providers that they strictly only give you data. It has 2 of those. And ladies and gentlemen, all 6 of these devices, all 6 of these accounts were active in this Port Harcourt. First question that came to my mind, well, now they see this money.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
Hello, Port Harcourt, with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
So 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007, 017-923-0002, 0817923-0007 at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. So, 2 very interesting questions. First and foremost, how would you rate service provision in Port Harcourt in the past month? Maybe this year. Let's narrow it down. Let's leave old things from last year. Forget about the old things. All right. How would you rate recent service provision? And 2, how many service providers do you use right now? 3 weeks ago, I got to meet somebody who has 6. You know what? This is no advertisement, but let's put it into context. So he has the MTN, he has the Airtel, he has the 9 Mobile, he has the Glow. Then he has one. Says it's an ISP from somewhere. What do you call it? Oh, my brain. What's wrong with my brain this morning? It's green. Smile. Yes, he has Smile, and he also has what you may call that thing, Intel. 6 of them, and all 6 had data. All. Why? Was my question. Are you saying 2 not enough? I can understand 2 or 3 because you're in Nigeria, but 6. Jonah is on the line. Jonah, yeah. Good morning to you, please.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Femi Andrew.
This is Jude. Good morning.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Jude. Yeah, the service provider in Nigeria is...
No, in Port Harcourt, let's yell. What's your view? What's your experience in Port Harcourt? Forget about whole Nigeria, just Port Harcourt.
It's very bad, honestly. And then you will call someone, the person will be hearing you, and you're not hearing the person. And the worst part is that your credit will be burning. Yeah, you'll be burning, sometimes just be cracking, as if they are breaking firewood or cannon.
Ow. That's terrible.
You just be doing...
John, let me ask you, how often do you use the internet?
Every day.
Every day? Okay, how many service providers do you subscribe with? Or 2?
It's 2.
So you use 2?
Yes.
Okay, as backup. Okay, all right.
Excuse me, do you know the worst part?
What is, please?
When you hear story, when I ask them, what happened to this service provider, they will tell me that it is them. In the thing just went off. That's why network has gone.
It is who? Who did they blame?
The service provider.
Who did they blame?
It's a business, but the network in Port Harcourt is very bad, honestly.
Okay, all right. Jonah says the service provision in Port Harcourt not great in his experience. He has 2 lines. All right, he uses 2 lines right now. So, what about you? How would you rate the service for calls and for data provision? How would you rate them? How many lines do you use? How many? Like I said, when it comes to data, I know most people have two. A good number of people have two, right? But I got to meet somebody about 3 weeks ago. Six. All, and the only funny thing is this is where I found it very interesting. All right, he has six. He doesn't run like a medium scale business that maybe he employs, I don't know, what would you say medium scale business is? Maybe like 50 people or 30 people. No, it's just him and about 5 or 6 people. What they do is they print and they help people develop websites somewhere in GRA. But he has 6, and all 6 have data on them. All 6 at any, in his way, said at any given point in time, right? Sometimes I come to the office and the one that we're using at work is down. I have to share my personal data so that everybody at work can do what they need to do. And when I go home, what is used in my house sometimes is not enough. You're watching a video or you're trying to push something online and then it's slow. You now have to switch again between the 6 and I think what was his bill? It came up to just under 100,000 naira. That's what he pays a month for data subscription. 100,000 naira. Now that I'm talking about, this person, it's very possible that there are a lot of businesses in Port Harcourt that are spending close to 1 million naira a year on internet access. Close to 1 million, if not more than 1 million naira. What am I saying? It has to be more. WhatsApp 08090306416, 08090306416. If you get onto Facebook, once again, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH. We're talking about service provision in Port Harcourt. What would you say is the rating for them from you, that is, as a user in recent times? All right. And then, more importantly, how many lines do you have to use to enjoy internet access whilst you're in Port Harcourt? Your business or your pleasure? When we come back from the break, I'm eager to get to hear from all of you. My name is Jude. Hello, Port Harcourt returns. Oh, by the way, we have internet and you can watch us live. as we get into the last bit of the in quote Lent season for Christians and getting deeper into Ramadan for Muslims. So it's a period of sacrifices for both groups. It's a period of giving, and it's also a period of sober reflection. All right, the aim is that by the time you are done, you should have come through with a bit of a better view of yourself and of the community, and how you can improve yourself and indeed the community. Now, speaking of improvement, a lot of people have called, and this is not today, it's not this week, it's not this month, it's not last 6 months. No, there's been steady calls for improvement, and you would hear that the telcos say, look, we're investing a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars, not even naira, into the system, into our services. Right now 5G is the trend, but the 5G spread is not as wide as the 4G or the 3G, talking about coverage across Nigeria. That's another conversation for another day. In fact, I got to see a test from, was it China? Yeah, where they were testing the speed of 5.5G. We've not taken 5G in fully to appreciate it, right? These dudes are already working on 5.5G. And then one day they will shock us, maybe like another 2 or 3 years. Oh yeah, 6G is out. Let's get ready. Let's blow up your phones. So all of that is still in the pipelines. But before we get to all that point when people can really say, look, you know what, speeds are, super lightning, however nomenclature you want to use to describe how fast it is or it will become. Let's talk about where it is at the moment. All right. Now, I'm not going to tell you, which country in Africa has the best internet speed. No, to me, that's irrelevant right now. The context is what you actually are experiencing, particularly if you are here in Port Harcourt. So, on this Pokey station this morning, how would you rate your service provider since this year? And then, how many service providers do you use to actually get work done, to actually have your entertainment needs met, to actually, as it were, be connected to all that is around you? After all, we are in the Internet of Things, right? Everything's connected, even refrigerators. Interesting times.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
Hello, Port Harcourt, with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Good morning, Mr. Victor. Welcome to Hello Port Harcourt.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt is congested with traffic of network.
Okay.
So if you ask me, Port Harcourt is trying.
Okay.
It's trying because the numbers of in fact, if you look at it very well, do you know that all these other companies' all these other masses that company has, that give them quality the network that they need. It still helps us to give us the people that are not using it. It still helps us to drive more network to River State or to let me put it to Port Harcourt. But if you ask of network in Port Harcourt, it's fine. It's fine. To me or at my level, it's fine because if you check the traffic of network, people calling in, calling out, typing, doing all those things. You just see that Port Harcourt, if you go to other places, you will know that there is network in Port Harcourt.
So how many? Oh dear! Wow! Oh dear! Okay. Well, Victor says, "Well, it's okay. The service provision here is not so bad. The traffic here is a lot, and then they're still able to, meet up. Right? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now, we have a message here from Anonymous. It says, it is not an insult when people express valid complaints or emotions about a real problem. Jude, there is a particular telecommunications provider that is currently moving mad, and they have been doing so for over a year now. Their entire network reception typically goes off without no warning, so subscribers can't even make or receive calls, not to talk of going on the internet. Disruptions can be for days at a time in different parts of Nigeria. As I type this, they are not on. And when reception returns, they are too entitled to even summon the courtesy to acknowledge any distress or inconvenience their disruption caused. Now, it's because of this shoddy, cruel, unreasonable, and entitled behavior I got a second line with a different telecoms provider, anonymous. So, this person has 2. I met someone who has 6. Whose fault then really is it that these things seem to go, unpunished or unaddressed? I remember that was last year, was that 2022, when there was a serious downtime in one of the with one of the service providers. When they got back, they sent messages. All right, they sent messages across board. I received mine both via email and SMS. And then I think they gave people, was it 100 naira or 200 naira airtime as a way of compensating, the downtime. I mean, like, okay, let's manage it. They tried, but like this message said, but should this even be a conversation that they tried? You advertise, you called for patronage, people have patronized, and then you are not able to meet up with the services for whatever reason, however genuine or cogent they are, right? What is the least that any decent entity should do? Send messages, apologize. I know, was that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when people were complaining of service downtimes? Banks were affected, people couldn't open their apps, couldn't do, businesses were grounded in some cases. For that period, what should have been done by these telcos? Really, what should they have done? 017-923-0003, 017-923-0007, 017-923-0003, 017-923-0007. All right, our WhatsApp and Telegram number 0809-030-6416. Please don't call the WhatsApp and Telegram number. The number I just reeled out to you, 0809-030-6416. Please don't call that number. And then follow us on social media at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. Zion is on the line. Zion is speaking to us from GRA. Zion, good morning to you, please.
Jude, good morning.
Good morning.
Data is life. Data runs virtually 80% of our daily activities. Data. What should Nigeria have done differently not to be affected by such glitch? I thought they told us we have many satellites in space. What are we doing with them?
Are you talking about the NigerSat project?
Of course, and other SAT projects.
Uh-huh.
Are they scam? Where are they? If you want our satellite, this is the question we should ask. I know there was a time they say one got lost in space. Just imagine, other people satellite they no problem. Only Nigeria lost.
It's happened before.
Sir, with proper infrastructures, we would have switched over from this fiber band and go what we call the VPN, which means automatically we switch to the satellite. The satellite will start giving us data. Do you know that by virtue of this broadband that travels from South Africa through the coastal region down to Europe, these coastal states like Bayelsa, River State, and Lagos, Ondo, supposed to be getting free Wi-Fi? But these people are so lazy, they don't think. The treaty that as long as it passes through here, you are the one to protect it. You can tap power, you can tap fiber to your state.
Really? You know this? Are you sure? I can't verify this. I need to ask questions.
See, Jude, listen. Sometimes when I talk on radio, I don't talk to feel ivy. I talk to give knowledge. Bodies have been born. These things are there. It's there. There's a treaty. I told you a treaty. I'm the one telling you. It's run from South Africa down all the coastal states country down. So Nigeria is a signatory to protect it. Nigeria is a signatory. So Bayelsa State, River State, if the governors have built a proper infrastructure, they would have passed that same power, that same fiber brought down to their infrastructure as a tower to supply free Wi-Fi. The truth is this: when you have people who are not competent, the people will suffer. What I told you, millions are listening, professionals are listening, even those who form this law, they are listening. Let them call in and say, Mr. Zion, what you are saying is not true. What you are saying is not true. I challenge anybody to do that. See, it pains my heart to see my people suffer for no reason. It pains me to see my people suffer because their leader, people they elected into office, are not competent. If your father cannot provide food for his family, what will happen to the family? They will go hungry. Criminals will come out from the family. Prostitutes will come out from that family because of a very lazy father. And that is the problem with Nigeria. That is the problem with our coastal state and the Niger Delta region. We are so blessed. See, do you know that our satellite up there, what did they say? Agriculture. How many agricultural farms we have? But do you know that there's a switch band that should be giving you free satellite as a video call? Do you know how many Nigerians today that are into data? Why can't we build this infrastructure and allow data vendors to start going do their business? You can have your business through that infrastructure. Jude Telecoms supplying ISP, which is Internet Service Provider.
Well, I do know that there are some ISPs in Nigeria. There are a good number of them in Lagos and in Port Harcourt. But we have Charles on the line. But before I let you go, Zion, let me ask you, right? You obviously don't seem impressed with the service provision here in Port Harcourt. But how many service providers are you subscribed to?
Personally, I use 3.
3?
3, yes.
Hey.
You know, most of the businesses we do, you need internet. Your job, you need the internet. A lot the internet. You want to talk to your children, you want to talk to your wife, your family members. You know, most of our calls now, most of them will use the airtime. Than in the airtime. Rather, we use data. A WhatsApp call or through any app that provided for phone calls. You understand? So we do a lot with data.
Okay.
That's why I do that. Data is life.
Zion,
let me stop here.
Thank you very much. Charles is a room big. Charles, good morning to you, please.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Charles.
I want to say a very big thank you to the last caller. I guess his name is Zion.
Yes, please.
His submission was 100% spot on.
Oh, really? You know that?
I have no reason to fault what he said. But I would love to add to his submission. Jude, if you ask me how many service providers I use 5.
Huh. 5?
Yes.
And all of them have internet access right now. You are paying for either data or voice calls on all of them.
I'm paying for everything. And why am I doing this? Because they are all unreliable. I use them in my house and in my office. Why should I use multiple service providers? It doesn't make sense. In a civilized climate, what am I doing with multiple service providers? Dude, for every time I travel out of the country, I don't need to use more than one service provider. There's something I'm sure a lot of people don't know out there. NCC has a complaint line.
Yeah, I was good to mention
that they could always make a report of complaint to. Is a regulatory body on issues like this. The tariffs are simply out of this world. And yet, we're getting what I call below par services from this guy. We pay so much money, and yet we get little or nothing of what we pay for. So what's the point in having these guys operating in Nigeria?
Oh, well,
because what I see is they rip us off.
But Charles, I'm very sure at several points you may have come across communiques explain that look, at some point they've had their installations vandalized, and then as regarding tariffs, they had to revise in some cases upwards because of the inflation and running costs, forex issues, trying to buy diesel, all those kind of things. All those things affected service provision. Now this is from last year, but overall, even with these things, right? Would you say it is their fault that these things are not right, or that there is a fundamental issue in the business space in Nigeria?
Jude, I have to be honest with you. I don't take such things serious from them. When you are enjoying tax rebates in a country, you always come out to give all kinds of funny excuses. And I can tell you something. The day Nigerians start instituting legal actions against the service providers, their secrets will be exposed and they will end up sitting up. It is simply exploitation of the Nigerian public. We have an estimated population of over 200 million. Jude, it's about quantity and not quality for these people. That's the long and short of it. Is it because Nigerians are quiet, Nigerians don't talk? When Nigerians start instituting legal actions against the service providers, that is when you will see that they will sit up. And that's the truth. So what happened to our NITEL?
That's a conversation for another day.
But it is true, for crying out loud. Why should you allow a foreign company coming to take up something that we have the facilities to run? And yet these guys are taking money out of the country and giving us poor services? If it wasn't for Glo, an indigenous company, do you know how much we pay per minute in Naira for calls today? Look, the regulatory body should sit up and take appropriate actions. Because when tomorrow comes and Nigerians know the right thing to do, trust me, there will be massive legal suits in our courts against the service providers, and they'll be made to pay plenty. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when we experienced a serious issue, I reached out to one or two friends. I said, look, this is the time to institute legal actions against these guys and claim serious damages. Because if you try this in civilized crimes, they know the repercussion. But because it's Nigeria, you feel anything goes. They will be shocked when tomorrow comes. Have a wonderful day, Jude.
Charles, thank you very much. Charles from Rumibekwe. Good morning, Jude. This is on WhatsApp. All right. The network service I'm experiencing right now is very frustrating. I traveled to my village in Abia State and left my phone at home due to the bad reception, only for me to come back and still no network reception. Jude, since Saturday, I bought data from my bank app and my WhatsApp is just down. I can't go online to use data on my phone. It is very annoying and frustrating. I can't do anything. As I'm texting you, I'm not sure this message will even get through. Honestly, network is so bad in Lelenwa. Unfortunately, I only use one service provider because over the years they have been diligent too. But I have decided to get another service provider. Okay. All right. A bunch of messages coming through. They seem to be very angry messages. This one here says, hi G, good morning. To be very honest, some of these data service providers can be decent, but overall none of them is consistent. How do you get to have nearly 5 gig worth of data after 2-3 days of usage? It tells you have 1.5 gig. It's not like you use a lot of downloads, neither are you sleeping on apps. No, I basically just use that particular line for business transactions. That is, I use them to transfer money for people. I'm a POS operator. This is very vexing. The government needs to do something about service provision. Since I'm trying, but overall, But wait, let's not forget. You know, it's very easy. And no, I'm not holding brief for any of these telcos. But when you have your smart devices on, right? There are apps that run on the background, and when they are running, they're consuming data. That's why it's advised. Look, if you're going to, don't just press the home page and continue. Sometimes end the app use or the application. What I do is I go there, I swipe it up, close it, so I know it's not running in the background. That way you could save your data. Once again, not holding brief for anybody. Just saying, it's easy to point fingers. Oh, they're not good. There's also the conversation that sometimes the users themselves are probably not being realistic with their expectations. Probably not. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH for Facebook and X, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH for Facebook and X. So thus far, the calls I've received this morning seem to be of the opinion that telco services not great, not impressed. One person says he has 5, another person says he has 3. Somebody says he's going to get another one. Some say they have 2. How many do you have? How would you rate them? Ian Achuku Alari Bay says, so far so good. The telecom service providers are trying, except these few weeks and days of cutting cables under the sea, which affected us as a nation and other West African countries. All right. Now, good morning, Jude. Service providers here in Port Harcourt are trying. The traffic for the service is not. It is a lot. So, yeah. Fair. Some are saying they are fair. Others, not so impressed. Good morning, Jude. I think with the cost of living, data has to be one of the things that people need to have these days, even not for data or more half for the survive. But it is expensive, and they don't tell you how or why. Dude, before 3,000 naira used to be enough for me for a month. These days, I'm having to spend as much as 5, sometimes even 7,000 naira on data in just 1 month. And it's not like I've used any more. I have more apps that I'm running. I still use it for the very basic necessities. And yes, they give freebies, but it's like they give you with one hand and they take from the other. And don't get me started on the data at night. It seems to be very angry, always running to God knows where. Phillips says, so always running to God knows where data died. How many people, it's believed that at night, obviously, the speeds improve. More people are asleep, so yeah, you sometimes, if I can't sleep by 10 o'clock, I tend to use my YouTube app till maybe 12:30 before I get to sleep. That's the best time for me, but is it enough to say it's running to where you don't know? Look, the more videos you watch, the more data you're going to consume. And let's not forget the quality of the videos you watch. So if you're one of those people who has a very good smartphone and your phone by default goes to HD quality when you're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, my brother, your data will shake. It will shake, and you have to shake it back by buying more. Anywho, maybe just like Charles said, maybe voices will need to be raised for improvements to be observed. I don't know, but only time will tell. My name is Jude. We have a break coming up shortly, and when we come back by 10 o'clock, remember I told you last week Friday that we'll get to talk about Ashrebi, right? Just because I mentioned it on Friday, something interesting occurred that Friday evening, all about Ashwebi, and I will be talking to you about it by 10 o'clock. All right, my name is Jude. Hello, Potako returns. Good morning.